Welcome back, it's Keith May for Hot Hardware, and today we're going to take a look at what happens when you take one of the hottest trends in mobile phones and you apply it to a traditional laptop. And we're talking about none other than the ASUS Zenbook 17 Fold. This has to be one of the most innovative moves in mobile computing we've seen in some time. Now, ASUS didn't just make it a foldable laptop, they made it so much more. Now let's get into it and see what all the fuss is about and whether or not it's worth the asking price. So what is the ASUS Zenbook 17 Fold? Well, it's a Zenbook, it's 17 inches, and it folds. But not in the traditional way that a laptop normally does. This exceptional device folds like a phone itself. The screen itself is a foldable 2560 by 1920 OLED display that's stunning from edge to edge. But ASUS doesn't just let that be a gimmick, if you will. I mean, it does fold and that's cool, but what can you do with that? Well, ASUS thought of quite a few different ways you could put this little system to use. 6 different ways to be exact, and we're going to show you all of them, starting with the laptop mode with a virtual keyboard. Now this is neat because it's like a Windows 11 tablet that sits up like a normal laptop, but the bottom of the screen is dedicated to a full virtual keyboard. But if you're like me and you prefer real buttons, then you can slap on the real Bluetooth keyboard and have access to a well laid out and full-sized key pitch keyboard with excellent keys that have a nice amount of key travel and a slight dish to the tops so that you feel the quality. This results in half the screen being covered, sure, but it's still 1920 by 1280 12.5 inch laptop at this point, and it'll still fold closed with the keyboard in place. But let's say you want a keyboard and all of the screen. Well, that's no problem either. ASUS calls this extended mode, where you set the Zenbook 17 Fold in laptop mode but have a keyboard off the screen, and voila! All of the screen has access and you still have a keyboard. Of course, you could go with a normal tablet mode where it's just flat and you hold it like a massive tablet, or flex it a bit for reader mode, which could be good for ebooks if that's your jam. But the best option for those on the go is the ability to take the tablet mode and set the keyboard under it, and now you have a full-blown desktop. The only complaint with this mode is you're going to have to prop the tablet up because it can't hold itself up in this orientation, and I would say a kickstand would have been a cool idea, but it was going to get clunky with the design, so it kind of is what it is. Now that's all really cool and super useful for a lot of professionals, but what about performance? Well, as we jump into that, we need to cover the specifications real quick for what powers the Zenbook 17 Fold. The CPU of choice here is the Alder Lake powered 12th gen Intel Core i7-1250U, featuring 10 cores and 12 threads. Now, 2 of those cores being performance cores with hyperthreading, while the other 8 are efficiency cores, and that's how we end up with that unique combination. Now, graphics are handled by the integrated Intel Xe graphics, and memory is solid at 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5, and storage is a single 1 terabyte PCIe 4.0 NVMe drive. Now look, in all reality, this notebook is not going to blow anyone's socks off when it comes to performance. It performs well in scenarios where single core is the primary driver, like in Browser Bench Speedometer 2, where it sits at the top of the stack. Geekbench 5 even shows promising results due to it being more bursty style of workloads. PC Mark 10, however, starts to show the weakness of the low TDP CPU in action with it sitting in the middle of the pack. Now, it's not a bad place to be, but not what you would consider a high performer. Even though the Zenbook 17 Fold packs in Intel Xe graphics, it is far from a unit that you would want to be playing games on, as shown in the 3D Mark Night Raid results. However, this isn't all bad. This is a travel and business device above all, and in those tasks it excels. No pun intended. And battery life, well, ASUS rates it at 9.5 hours, but in our test where we normalize light output levels to 115 lux and use the PC Mark 10 battery test, where we were able to get over 12 hours while running the 1080p video loop test. So It's flexible, literally speaking, has great battery life, and good day-to-day performance, but terrible gaming performance. So, who is the ASUS Zenbook 17 Fold for? It's not for the gamers, so that crowd might as well not even consider it. But if you're the kind of person on the go, constantly want a computer that can be compact laptop or a good all-in-one size system when you get where you're going, then there is some real appeal here, especially if you can benefit from the spectacular OLED display. Now, professionals and creatives can find many ways to get value out of this unit. It's unique, and with a starting price of $34.99, it's not for the faint of wallet. Now, I hope you enjoyed our review of the ASUS Zenbook 17 Fold, and if you did enjoy it, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. And also make sure you drop by hothardware.com for even more news and reviews.